I'm Dan Wallace with the UIC Athletic Department, and today we are joined by a very special guest, the longtime head coach for the UIC track and field and cross country programs, Jim Knoedel. Coach, how you doing this morning?
Very good. I'm very impressed how you pronounce my name. You probably had a heart attack thinking if it was going to be right or not.
It's part of my job, making sure I do my research and making sure I get those pronunciations right. But we're here to talk about your history and a very special project you've been working on in your couple of years since retirement. But before we get to that, let's take it back a little bit. You were at UIC for quite a while as the head coach of our track and field and cross country programs. What was it about UIC and this community and this university that allowed you and made you want to stay around for as long as you did?
I think that I saw a tremendous amount of potential in UIC, both as a school and as an athletic program. Well, when I first came in, there was only cross country for men and women. That was the only sport. There was no track and field. So one of my goals was to get track and field started. And then in terms of the cross country team, my goal was always to be in the top three at the conference meet for both the men and women. I know when I came into UIC, if I remember correctly, 8 of the previous 10 years, UIC was last or second to last in the conference meet. So my goal was to get it up in the top 3. And I think it's like a base camp on a mountain. If you can keep the base camp high, your chances of getting the top are much better. And that's what my philosophy was as a coach. Like, just get it up there. And every once in a while you have a good team and you'll get a second, or unfortunately you never got a first. We should have had a first many times, but that was my goal, to just get it up there so we could have a team that was respectable in the Horizon League.
Talking about Ashley Lucas, the current head coach here for the track and field cross country programs, what's it been like for you kind of watching the program evolve from where you took it to where it is now? And how much do you feel like, while you may not be the current head coach, that you played an impact in setting that foundation for the team to build upon in the years to come?
Yeah, she's done a great job. I was always excited when I really had to coax her to come into UIC, that I knew that she understood some of the obstacles we might face, but she's done a great job with the program, developed a team atmosphere, attitude with the team, and they've done a great job. She's done a phenomenal job recruiting, working with the athletes, dealing with some of the COVID issues going on right now, and handled it well. And I think it's exciting to see how something that that I never would have thought we were going to see 20 years ago, now it's finally come to fruition. So she's done a great job.
In your time now that you're no longer coaching at UIC, it appears as though you've gotten into a bit of a writing career, as you are working on a new book and set to come out now called A Golden Era. What was it about writing a novel that intrigued you, and was it something that you'd always wanted to do, or did it kind of come by circumstance? Kind of what led to you getting into becoming a book writer?
It was kind of a evolution. I remember I always enjoyed writing. It sounds weird, but I enjoyed writing recruiting letters to athletes. I would always make a point to address each of the letters to the specific athlete. Now, 4 of the 5 paragraphs weren't, but 1 paragraph was. And the athletes I found over the years, I've had, like, if you said if I had 10, 15, 20 athletes that didn't even go to UIC showed me their recruiting letter, yes, I have. And it made me realize the impact that writing could have on someone's life. There was a point in time I'd probably write 4 to 5 hours a day straight. I just put together and throw away and put together and throw away. But I accumulated 250,000 words. And I thought, this is a pretty good size. I figured it was. And I went to editor, and I'll still remember, she said, is this 2 books? And I said, no, it's just 1. And she goes, no, I think it's 2 books. So, but that's where I spend my time. I love to write. And I think that, I love the creative aspect of it.
The book's set to come out in November of 2020. And the little blurb on your website, taleoftworunners.com, says, a fictional tale of the prep careers of a father in the late 60s and his son in the new millennium.
Well, the basis of my story is that there's always a comparison between athletes and eras. There's LeBron James and Michael Jordan, and there's Willie Mays and Derek Jeter. In this case, it's Jim Ryan and Alan Webb, or it's Dathan Ritzenheim or Steve Prefontaine. So I'm kind of comparing an era from the late 60s to an era in the 2000s, new millennium. And so I always, it's easy to point it out, but I went back and forth between the father in high school to the son in high school, and then back to the father in high school. So you could compare the eras.
Talking about that, how much of the book would you say is, have you taken elements from your coaching career, things you've witnessed in person, and how much of it just came straight from your mind and, you know, sitting down at a page and seeing what came about?
You know, that's an interesting question. It's maybe I'd say 50-50, something like that. The story is, I use real events and I use real athletes, but I've inserted my fictional characters in the story. But a good example is in 1970, the NCAA championships were at Des Moines, Iowa, at Drake University. If you ever seen the Prefontaine movie, there's a movie where he cuts his foot before the race, and he has to wear with a bandage around his foot, and then the race, there's blood all over his foot, but he won the national title. I was at that race, and I can still remember reaching across the railing to try and slap hands with him, and I missed it. I was like, I'll never forget that as long as I live, like, oh. And I won't say what I said, but, you know, yeah, I remember that moment vividly. But in the book, he actually does slap his hand. So I can do stuff like that. But so much of it's based on real stories. But there's a lot of created stuff. And the races themselves, for the most part, even though I use real people, I had to insert my character in. So it's really a fictional book. And I think I just want to make sure everyone knows it's fictional. This didn't really happen.
Well, the book is A Golden Era, A Tale of Two Runners. Make sure to go to taleoftworunners.com. Coach, we'll forgive you for the fact that the website's branded in Loyola colors, but we'll certainly still encourage everyone to head on over to the website there to check it out and buy a copy of your book. Thank you so much for your time. Good luck. Good luck with the sequel. Already listed on your website that there's a book 2 in the works. And so we wish you all the best, and thank you for everything that you did for UIC and the UIC community.
You bet. Glad to talk with you.